Hello, dear all. Welcome to your own channel, Curious Corners in Biology, where we discuss scientific aspects of the subject and the questions which stem in the minds of learner when this subject is being read or when the literature of biology is being read. So, as usual, today I have come up with more interesting questions from animal physiology. The first one being that we know 20 amino acids are required for protein synthesis, but then all amino acids are not required by human body. Why is it so? So the answer to this is that 11 amino acids out of 20 are already produced by human body. So they will play a role in protein synthesis. But 9 of those amino acids out of 20, they are not synthesized by human body. That means their consumption would be dietary. They are obtained from our diet. Few essential amino acids will be leucine, isoleucine, lysine, threonine, tryptophan, to name a few out of 9. When these amino acids are taken up by our diet, they are called as essential. The body requires it. The body does not produce it. But the amino acids which are produced by the body are non-essential amino acids. Now, essential amino acids also have other significant roles to play. For example, post surgery, we need essential amino acids to recover speedily. Then it will prevent muscle loss as well. Essential amino acids are also known to improve memory and sleep functions. They are also known to improve nutrient absorption. So there are many beneficial physiological roles of essential amino acids. And now we get that why do we need them along with the diet? Okay. The next question, which I would like to talk about, is about emulsification of fats. Who does the emulsification of fats? First of all, let us discuss what is emulsification of fats. Emulsification of fats is simply breaking down of large fat globules into smaller ones. Who does this? Bile salts like glycolic acid, taurocolic acid. These are bile salts which does it. Now bile salts in their name have a component called as bile acid because it is taurocolic acid, glycolic acid. So then bile acids are known to have a hydrophilic portion, that is water soluble portion, and hydrophobic portion, that is lipid soluble portion. So ultimately hydrophilic and hydrophobic portion of bile acid constitutes the entire structure of bile acid. So the question is that why do we need hydrophilic and hydrophobic portion of bile acids in bile salts to carry out emulsification of fats? Okay, what's the role? So hydrophilic portion is the portion of the bile acid interacting with water. Now, if it interacts with water, it can also interact with digestive juice, and it also interacts with the digestive enzymes. And there is lipid soluble or hydrophobic portion which will interact with the hydrophobic fat globule. Fat globule is usually insoluble in water. So large hydrophobic fat globule is interacted with hydrophobic portion of the bile acid. Now, the hydrophilic portion of the bile acid is going to increase the surface area by reducing the surface tension. Surface tension will keep the molecules on the surface bound together, but when the bonds, the cohesive forces between the molecules are stretched apart, then the cohesive forces will break and the molecules will move away from each other, thus reducing the surface tension and increasing the surface area. What is the advantage of increasing the surface area? by the hydrophilic portion of the bile acid. Increased surface area will give an opportunity for the digestive enzymes to act upon the large fat globule. And then the large fat globule is broken down into smaller fat globules. So both hydrophilic as well as hydrophobic portion have a role to play. Okay. This can be easily understood by a diagram. I'm sharing my screen here and you can see the diagram on the screen. This is a schematic representation of how bile acids work. So especially a bile salt has been shown in the center along with its hydrophobic portion that has been shown in yellow, and the hydrophilic portion of the bile salt, that is bile acid specifically, is shown in green color. Okay. And this is interacting with the fat globule causing its emulsification, that is breaking down into smaller globules. So you can see that this large fat globule is broken down into smaller fragments or pieces. Those are called emulsified fat droplets. But the thing important to understand over here is that the bile acids are aligning in a way that hydrophobic portion is interacting with the hydrophobic fat, and the hydrophilic water soluble portion is positioned outside. So this in a way is increasing surface area for the enzymes to act upon. This in a way is going to increase the surface area for the enzymes to act upon. And the emulsified fat droplets are also called as micelles. Micelles, this complex of fat is important. These small globules are important to be absorbed within the small intestine. Otherwise, fat cannot be absorbed. So emulsification of fat is required. So hope the emulsification concept of fats is clear, and what is the role of hydrophobic and hydrophilic portion of bile acids. Okay. Moving on to next interesting question. Is bowel transit time differing in people on vegetarian diet and non-vegetarian diet? Now, this discussion is not to trigger any debate what is good vegetarian or non-vegetarian. No, no, no. I'm not commenting on, I'm not trying to influence anyone's dietary habits, but this is just a scientific understanding which we are discussing, and it has been established well over a good period of time. So, bowel transit time is the time required by the food to move through the digestive tract. This is bowel, that is digestive tract. Transit, to move, time required to move. Okay. So, bowel transit time in people on plant-based diets, that is more so vegetarians, is less compared to people on animal diet. Okay. So, of course, there are other factors also which are seen, that vegetarian diet being high on fiber reduces constipation and leads to formation of softer stools, unlike people on animal diet, where the chances of constipation and diverticulosis or diverticulitis, which are conditions of large intestine causing the inflammation of the pouches of large intestine, is also significantly more. Okay. And the bowel transit time is also less because more time is required for the digestive enzymes to act upon and break down non-vegetarian food like beef, pork, or red meat. Okay. And less time is required to digest plant-based diet. Okay. So the bowel transit time is quite less for a vegetarian diet. Now, here by vegetarian diet, I am meaning or I am including um ovo-lacto-vegetarian as well as vegans. Vegans are people who are strict vegans. That means they are not eating any animal-based product like milk or eggs are also not taken up. Any dairy product like cheese is also not taken up. But ovo-lacto-vegetarian would also include eggs as well as lacto, that is milk products in their diet. Okay. Another important thing related to bowel transit time is the bowel transit time in females is more than in males. This is very interesting concept because in females, estrogen and progesterone have a role to play in gut motility, and estrogen and progesterone will reduce the gut motility. So when the progesterone and estrogen levels spike up during menstrual cycle, the bowel transit time is significantly increased. That means it can take almost 100 hours for the food to pass through the entire digestive tract. So this is also one fact which is to be understood in terms of bowel transit time. So yes, vegetarian diet, plant-based diet, which is high on fibers will obviously reduce constipation, and the bowel transit time is also less. Okay. Now, this discussion is not to advocate any influence on dietary habits of people. Then, the next thing I would like to discuss is you might have seen penguins. Penguins will inhabit polar regions mainly, and they are known to huddle in cold. Okay. That means they will walk together, they will nestle together in cold. Okay. They will crowd up together. Why so? So it's very simple to understand, but this does not mean that penguins like to colonize. No, that's not their animal behavior or their choice to colonize. No, they are not colonizing. Basically, huddling together, crowding up together, if you think, would reduce surface area so they can protect themselves from cold. It will kind of create an insulating effect from cold. Okay. That means when penguins huddle together, their whole body is not exposed to cold. So if the whole body is not exposed to the cold, the surface area is reduced, and they can, in a way, keep up heat in their body. Okay. So that's why penguins huddle in cold. So this is what I had to discuss for today. If you are interested in such content, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon. And I have written a book, Curious Corners in Biology, which has extracted questions from every nook and corner of the subject. I have tried and presented curious questions from every part of the subject, different units of the subject. It's very interesting book. It's not a textbook. It's simply a stroke. It's simply an effort to ignite inquisitiveness and scientific curiosity in the minds of learners of this subject. Okay. So thank you very much. See you soon next time with more interesting questions. Thank you.